morning to you all. You are all looking wonderful. Happy Women's Month. As she said, my name is Gorejena. Just a bit of background of myself. I have been in banking for the past 20 years. Yes, 20 years. I feel so old whenever I say that. But for the past 8 years, I have been with the National Building Society, trying to change lives by providing housing over your rule. And I think not just housing, but we are a bank that just cuts across what the bank next door we are able to do it. We provide financial solutions, more so for those that are excluded, that speaks to financial inclusion. So in terms of the topic of today, I wanted to use maybe that's all. I think I can get someone who can just move it. I felt it was very important to sort of give background. Yesterday, I went for an open day for my daughter at a school in Harare. And we were touring their science lab. And the chemistry teacher went into chemistry, biology, chemical, acidic. I started having a headache. And so today I promised that I'm not going to talk about collateral, security. I'm going to speak in the layman's terms so that we all understand. I know you're specialists in your area of fields, but I want to bring banking to very basic. What do we talk about? According to the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, the latest FinScope survey, it talks about 60% of the country's GDP, which is gross domestic product, is contributed by SME. So these are the people that are around this room. The sector is reported to have 10% formalization, which is really indeed very low. I think my earlier conversation with the gentleman I'm sitting next to, he was alluding to the issues of liquidity. Say, banks, you're not giving liquidity. And I was saying, but you're also not banking. So it's a two-way relationship. So in terms of milestones, we are not at the rock bottom. Zimbabwe has made significant strides in promoting inclusivity, especially in women's empowerment. And however, while we have 33% of business owners are women, only 30% actually have access to financial services, which is a worrisome number, which I think where my conversation will start. To say, when I'm starting a business, what comes to my mind? If you are going to take anything away from this presentation, I would like you to look at, to really listen to the next slide that I'm going to speak around. When I have an idea, I want to start a business, I always relate SMEs to farmers. If you go back into history, if you look at our parents as well, they're doing subsistence farming. Subsistence farming was relating to, I want to farm for my family. I want to take my children to school, then I'm comfortable. However, we are now saying, as women of Vala, we want to go beyond. We want to start businesses that are sustainable. So the moment I think of going into business, what am I looking at? I have to do a research and development. It sounds like a very big word and fancy, but it's not that. When we speak of innovation, I think my topic was around innovation. So when I'm thinking of a business, I want to do research around it. What is it that I want to get into? Not because lender is going to take, so we all want to go to take now the same dress that I bought from lender. I see it with charity, I see it with the next person. You want to be able to look for that product that is unique, that gives sustainability. Sustainability, we're just saying, it goes beyond 2 years, 3 years. So ultimately, you look at what is it that is selling now. We talk of solar. I think you will all agree with me that the backup is now, I don't want to say the company, but solar is now the main supplier of power. But if you look at it 3-4 years ago, it was just a product. But people have created millions of money around solar. There is boom in construction. But how many women are into construction business? Would it not be so wonderful to say Highlands Mall was built by a consortium of women that have pulled resources together and you start doing this? They've done it in Kenya, where they do crowdfunding without necessarily having to look at the financial institutions. I want to speak about compliance. So when I'm starting my business, if my intention is really great, I want to do things right, which is where maybe I don't want to call it cancer for Zimbabwe. When we start a business, we look at it as a side hustle. Is it a side hustle? Or my intention is great? So when we look at compliance, we are looking at, are you paying NASA? Do you have a NASA certificate that you can, when we have, I think as MBS, we introduced a fund that was targeted for those that are excluded largely in most institutions. And that fund was sitting idle because the business, either it doesn't have taxi, it's not paying for the taxes, it doesn't have NASA, it's not compliant in terms of NASA, or you're not registered. Just being registered by PRAS, I think it takes about $150 for you to just log on onto their system and be able to access all those tenders that we read in the papers. Why would I not want to deal with the government? It's the biggest spender. But I have to trade with them when I've registered my business. It will sound like it costs an arm and a leg, but it doesn't cost much. I want to speak around financial literacy. We always talk about financial literacy, but financial literacy, everyone wonders, what are we talking about? It's just a big word. That means the most basic thing. When I'm starting my business, have I started a budget? Have I put in a budget as I start my business? If I make profit, what profit am I looking at? What margins am I looking at? And when I have the profit, do I have a plan for the profit that I have set aside? So the ability to just understand those basics, to just count the numbers. I always like to prepare my customers to say, punch the numbers. How much are you making? Some think revenue is profit, but it's not profit. I might be turning over 2 million, but my profit is 50,000. Am I making money? I'm not making money. So when you come to the bank, then you speak a lot of English around it. You're not happy. So we're saying, let's get the basics. I'm seeing a lot of young women around. Let's just get the basics right. If we get the basics right, we will then be able to plan. Lastly is the investment. We always leave the investment aside. Say, once I get my money, I don't even want to talk about retained earnings. When I get my profit, what am I doing with it? Is it going back to subsistence where I spend every dollar that I make, or I grow that dollar into something? As women, as we are now in finance, where we give you a holiday of about 3 months, given that you can build your property, in the next 3 months, we exempt you to pay. You start paying after you finish paying off in the hope that whatever you're directing towards your rental, you put it into your loan repayment. In terms of business, that we call them structures. We will be able to structure something like that. Not necessarily a long tenure for a year, but 3 to 6 months we'll be able to do that. As a bank, we have been in conversations with the likes of UNDP, wanting to have access to these funds you're speaking into, which are grants. But from a bank side of things, these are actually financial loans, which comes at an interest, but it's an area that we also want to tap into, working with the NGOs that have experience in that arena. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda, for the presentation. I just wanted to find out, I know you're encouraging us to remove our monies from the safe deposit boxes, but I wanted to find out, is there a facility in terms of, if I want to put my money in a savings account, does it actually accumulate interest? I keep it in there for a year. Do I make money?
Thank you very much for that question. We do have products that gives credit interest of a positive balance. So we can actually invest whether on 3, we have what we call money markets, meaning we can lock it up for 3 to 6, up to 12 months. But if you don't want to lock it up, you want to have access as and when you can, we are able to give credit interest on all credit balances. And you can actually borrow against that money. In the event that you don't have security, you've got 20,000 in the account, but you want to borrow even in local currency, that then becomes your security. So let the money sweat for you than to gather dust under the pillow. Thank you.
Do you have any more questions? I'll take 2 last ones.
Good morning, ladies. Thank you for a lovely presentation. You talked about crowdfunding women projects in Kenya. I'm very interested in what the bank has to offer for such. If a group of women come to your bank, in South Africa they call it Stopwell. I think FNB banks in South Africa actually do give loans to a group of women that get together and do such projects. Does your bank offer that, number one? Number two, is there any facility in Zimbabwe that offers that? Thank you.
Thank you so much for the question. In Zimbabwe, we call them circles. I think it's a product that we also borrowed from our neighbors. Unfortunately, for it has been thriving outside banking, and then it turns into a pyramid, if you like. So you then hear someone rain with the money. So as banks, we are now coming in. If you saw my presentation earlier, we were talking about Wakane NBS. You can be a group of women that are serving towards a goal. Maybe a goal is to acquire 10 properties. We can give you a home to that money, give you interest on the saving. At the same time, you can borrow against that money, enjoying the privilege of an annualized interest. So it's a product that we are developing, very passionate about, and we are inviting ladies to come, and we will perfect the product together, but we already have it on board. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Like she said, my name is Dr. Paida Gurupira. Most of you know me as Dr. Paida. I'm also just standing here on behalf of Dr. Chipo Nunzo. She sends her apologies that she couldn't make it on time. I cannot stand in her feet and talk about what she was meant to talk about, but I'm going to talk about what I know, my bread and butter, which is how to preserve and maintain your lovely smiles. So if we can all just smile at me, oh yeah, I can already see. And I'm also going to be smiling a lot because I know a lot of you are scared of dentists. When I talk about being a dentist, all of you are like, you know what, chase me to the pharmacist. I would rather for now, get something. Take me to the local handy dandy herbalist to put something so that at least for now, because you're all scared of me, I am human like you. I smile like you. I bleed like you. So please do not be scared. Over the next couple of minutes, I'm just going to be giving you a little bit of tips on how to maintain your oral health. I know when we hear health, I know the theme for today is cultivating a good mind and body. The last thing you thought we were going to talk about teeth. I call myself the oral activist. I think oral health is such a neglected part of us and it is so important. There's so many functions of the mouth. If you do not have your teeth, you cannot speak. Candice will not be here. If you do not have your teeth, you cannot eat. And if you cannot eat, you cannot have good nutrition. If you cannot have good nutrition, you are not in good health. I can go on and on and on. Again, our teeth make us look pretty. If we do not have all these teeth, we would have swollen, our gums would be in, and we would not be as beautiful as we are. So teeth are important, and sometimes we do kind of neglect it. And yes, even in the medical field, we always have to argue with our counterparts. We are also doctors. We did go to medical school. So as I talk, I'm gonna base my little tips and hints in 3 ways. I'm gonna let you know how you can take care of your teeth. I'm also gonna let you know how I can partner with you in taking care of your teeth. And I'm going to also just cover a little myths we all have about teeth. About, is that true? Obviously. Is that really true? So over my little tips and hints, that's what I'm going to be talking about. So we're going to start with the first one, what you can do. I know it's going to sound as if I'm talking to kids and you're going to be like, we know this. But for ladies, we always need to be reminded. Mushonga always, is there anyone who doesn't understand Shona before I go on? I always find it so much easier to talk with you. Okay, so I'll be translating for you. Mushonga always, the medicine of teeth, guys. I always hear this is my number one question when I see patients. When you see a patient where you might need to do an extraction of over 11 teeth, they're like, Doc, Mushonga always, chi. It is simple, guys. The first rule is you need to be careful what you eat. And when I say this, sugar is bad. It is real. It's not a myth. The chocolates we love, the sweets we love, they really do cause tooth decay. We don't just say that so that you come to us. It is real. But if you have a sweet tooth, there are alternatives. And we're talking about cultivating a healthy mind and body. There are things like sugarcane. They're really good if you have a sweet tooth. Why? Because that fiber, as you eat, it also cleans out your teeth. If you really have an insatiable appetite for sweets, do not take the sticky toffee-like sweets. Okay, lollipops are good. Why? Because the lollipop, you have to take it out. The saliva does the job. It's like a self-cleansing process, and then you put back the lollipop. Is that okay? And I know all of you, or most of you, might be moms, might be aunts. As I speak, I'm also speaking into your children. The habits that you take from here, please go and teach them as well. When on the kids, please, ladies and gents, we do not rumura kids, we do not wean off kids from milk with juice. And juice in the titty bottle. This is bad because that sugar will have a party on the kids' teeth. And most of our kids, if we notice, really have bad front teeth. It's because of us moms. And it's the same with you. Please don't be, when you go to the gym and you exercise, don't put your sugar-rich liquids in those fancy bottles, which are more like titty-like. They would do the same thing, they're not good for you. Your normal Aquacure bottle, it's not the fanciest, but it will save your teeth. And trust me, it will save your pocket, because when you then come to me, I will charge. Another thing that you can do is just your simple toothbrush and toothpaste. Did you know that? Your toothbrush and toothpaste are your best defenders when it comes to oral health. When we're talking about your toothbrush, there are things that you need to watch out. When you're buying a toothbrush, you need to check a proper toothbrush will either have these three words: soft, hard, or medium. Which one do you go for? You go for the one written medium. Soft, I prescribe for you. Hard, I prescribe for you. When you are going to buy, you buy what? Medium. You're just going to buy medium. If you have a problem with your gums, come to me first and I'll let you know if you have to change. Talking about the toothbrush, how long do we keep a toothbrush? We keep a toothbrush for 3 months. Today I want you to all go. I know we're CEOs. I know we're execs. But today I want you to go privately and just take your toothbrush and just check the condition of your bristles. If they're not like this, it's time for us to say goodbye to that toothbrush. So every 3 months, even if to you it still looks okay, even if to you it still feels okay, let's check them out and let's just buy a new one. Better still, ladies, we can use those toothbrushes for our brows, we can use that for our edges if we really are being frugal. Is that okay? Which brand? Whatever you can afford. Electrical or not, whatever you can afford. Then the last one when we're looking at your toothbrush is the movements we use. So most of us, I can tell you right now, I can predict if I was to come and look at all your teeth. I would tell you, you brush your teeth like this, or you brush your teeth like this. Can you imagine, you know the song, the wheels in the bus go round and round? That is exactly the song you should need to sing to yourself when you're brushing your teeth. When we brush our teeth, we go round and round. We brush our teeth in circular motions. This and that hurts your gums. And you end up having that problem when you drink cold, hot, sweet, you're like, I have this excruciating pain. where you feel like you're going to die for 10 seconds and then that goes away. It's just a matter of how you are brushing. And then the last one is the toothpaste. Please always buy a toothpaste which has fluoride. I know those people who sell the network marketers, they have a product which does not have fluoride. We do not encourage this. Please buy a fluoridated toothpaste. Brand up to you. What you feel tastes good, what you feel you like. So I'll be back again. So today, for now, we just spoke of what you can do. When I come back, we'll be talking about what I can do for you. Is that okay?
Okay, thank you very much. Maybe before you go, I've been observing in the market since we are struggling with the issue of counterfeit products.
Yeah.
When it comes to toothpaste, what do we do? Because we have counterfeit toothpaste on the market. How do we differentiate?
So, you know what? Just go and buy from a reliable source. Oh. You see? Just buy from a reliable source. Toothpaste is not expensive. The fancier ones which are coming out are the ones which are going for, again, the sensitivity ones and everything. I was going to talk about that when I come back. We prescribe. Otherwise, for your day-to-day use, just go to a reliable source, your supermarkets, your pharmacies. And then that's the only guarantee I can give you, because now the counterfeits are that good that even sometimes I can't tell unless I'm going under a microscope in a lab. So I'll just say buy your local friendly brands. You don't need the fancy stuff.
Okay, so today my topic is about breaking barriers. While my journey has been filled with achievement, it has not been without its challenges. As a woman in a male-dominated field, there were times when I felt the weight of expectations. You know, sometimes when you are a female, mostly the men, you need to perform exceptionally well for them to actually accept you. There are times when you have contribution. The only moment they'll actually maybe take it seriously or anything is when you are saying something which is valuable. So for us, the ladies, we had to put maybe double the effort, you understand? So those challenges, the expectations, they were quite big. And the pressure also to prove myself, it was so immense. Sometimes I would sleep late just to read and, grasp the concepts. But then that made me become better actually. So besides that, I took inspiration from Angeline Bosher. She was the first female jet pilot. I'm sure some of you know her, in Zimbabwe. A bravery and resilience, together with a pioneering spirit, were and continue to be an inspiration to me. She showed me that it's possible to actually break the barriers, as she was the first female pilot in the Airforce of Zimbabwe. But whenever I felt, the weight of the expectations and everything, even the work, she would actually encourage me. She was the first female jet pilot and I'm the second. But now there are so many, there are maybe 2 jet pilots behind us. So actually people are now liking it and, moving towards for it. So the true essence of leadership to me, it goes beyond the titles and the awards. Leadership is about resilience, the ability to get back up after facing adversity. Ask me, I've experienced it. To keep pushing even when the odds are stacked against you. Leadership is about breaking resistive barriers, showing others what is possible, and also lifting them along the way. I want to encourage each and every one of you today to never let challenges or expectations placed on you hold you back. Resilience and striving for excellence is your greatest strength. You should double the effort and also continue upgrading yourselves. When you are at your workplaces and everything, continue going back to school, continue doing the small courses that those things, they upgrade you as well. So this whole journey has had its ups and downs, and it will continue to have those ups and downs. But because it takes a village to raise a child, and no man is an island, I want to express my gratitude to my instructors and to my husband and to my family as well. Their support, knowledge, and encouragement has been incredible throughout the years. Above everything else, I do give thanks to God. He's the one who gives us victory every day. So in conclusion of my speech, whether you are in the military or not, remember that leadership is not defined by gender, not at all, but by your capabilities, what you can actually do. And also it's defined by the strength of your vision and the courage to actually act on it. As we go forward, let us be fearless in our pursuit for excellence. Support one another and keep striving for greatness. I say support one another because where I am, I actually got support from the men and the female actually. They were helping me throughout. So I appreciate that when you are alone, you cannot do much. You cannot even go far. So ladies and four gentlemen, please continue to break the restrictive barriers in your own unique ways, and may we all have a pleasant day. Oh, actually, before I forget, it's a male-dominated field, and yes, we did 4 years, almost 4 years, yes. We were getting our hair cut, and we were just looking like the boys, you know. But after that, you can actually have a social life as well. I managed to get married to a really good man, and I did manage, and I'm still managing to balance the two. You know, work sometimes is demanding, but we keep striving for greatness. Thank you very much.
Before I start taking questions, did you talk about the sword of?
Yes, the sword of honor.
Yes. Did you talk about it?
Yes.
Please emphasize.
You were not listening.
No, I was outside.
Yes.
Please tell us about that again.
Okay, so I said, when I graduated, I was named the best student, but I also received a sword of honor. This sword of honor you are given when you have done exceptionally well.
Exceptionally.
Yes, yes.
Not just well.
Yes.
I think that's the point that I wanted. That's excelling. How did you feel when you got it?
I was overwhelmed, but I was very happy. You know, ladies in male-dominated fields, sometimes they do look down upon us, but for that, I'm very happy. And I'm still filled with pride about this achievement. But there will be greater things on it as well.
Thank you very much. I have a small question for you, ma'am. Do you have kids, and how are you balancing kids at work?
Not yet, not yet.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So my question for you is, as a jet pilot, how often do you fly? And when you're not flying, what are you doing? Because I think the times that I've seen jets flying is during trade fairs and stuff, when you're doing those things. Yeah. So that is my question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. It's not always that we don't just wait for the flight paths and everything. We fly almost every day, but we're doing training or we're doing currencies. So mostly we do it there's a certain area that is specified for us, the Airforce of Zimbabwe, where we can actually operate. So that is where we do our trainings, our currencies, and we're always learning. We're always doing courses on different types of aircraft. So besides those, we are training, we're doing currencies, and we're flying planes. So we fly almost every day, unless we have bad weather. Yes, that's when we can stop. You say you said something else again.
I think that was my main question.
Okay. So it's not always, when you see during the fly past and everything, you just see us flying straight and level. No, it's not always that big. We can do the rolls, we can do the, okay, whereby the aircraft, you are flying like this, you can go like this, you can go like, because we are training for, they are called aerobatics, we are training for war, just to actually be keeping the airspace safe. So we're training for that. In case something happens, we need to be equipped and ready for those things. So we're always training and doing kinds of things.
Then my question comes, you were doing something new, being the second pilot, right? Usually in the corporate world, not just Airforce, there's resistance when you're trying to rise to the top. It might not be coming from the men, but sometimes it comes from us as ladies. And at times it affects your performance. And you end up maybe getting emotional. I mean, we're human. So how did you manage to rise above? I mean, the toxicity when it's around us. What about when it comes to the masculine side of men? How did you rise above that, and how did it not affect? I mean, you got the sword of honor. So that means like you conquered. How did you rise?
But the people who were close to me, you know, the instructors, the teachers and everything, they do not look at your gender and everything. If you are good and you know what you're doing and you are doing exceptionally well, they will invest in you. So what I have learned during my career and everything, you need to be good at what you're doing. That one, it will take you places. Yes, it's been a bit difficult, but it has been difficult for everyone. Just like what I think maybe in the corporate world is equally difficult as well. So the toxicity is there, but maybe just because they train me in the basic military, I don't really, succumb to that. So, yeah, I don't listen to it does affect me, and I do get emotional, but yeah, maybe in my room when no one is watching, but when I go out for the best version of myself. So I've never been really affected by toxicity and everything. I've just told myself I need to be good and I need to be better, and the rest they will just treat you well. They'll treat you well. But negative people, of course, when you're doing well and it doesn't affect me, that's what I get always.
Thank you. My name is Sister Jane. I'm actually a nursing sister in the 80s. I was actually aspiring to be you. Yes. And I actually applied to Airforce of Zimbabwe for a post that was taking people for training in China. That was in 1985, and I was hoping to be like you. But back then, I think the women had you couldn't get through to break the barriers. Thanks to advocacy by women for equality and everything, guys like you ended up getting into breaking those barriers. I was actually called in for an interview at Airforce after an academic one, which I also passed. But when they called me for a physical and whatever, they thought I was a guy because, like she rightfully said, you have your haircuts and everything just like the boys. I was also like a guy, but they didn't realize I was a girl. So when I got there, I was told, wait, he's got a meeting, Until 8:30, I was called in to say, by the name, what's your name? By the way, what's your name? And I told them my name, and the lady just said, okay. So they couldn't publicly say we are not taking girls, but behind the scenes, they would then select the boys. I was then offered a place to say we can send you to Zimbabwe to train as an air hostess, which I declined. I'm so proud of you. I see a lot of women following in your steps, but it's not just now that people are doing that. the aspiration to be there has always been there in the young girls, but they couldn't get a chance. Thank you.
Thank you. I wanted to just find out, I know you mentioned that you wanted to fly from a young age, but perhaps just to understand the inspiration to choose going into the Airforce versus maybe like commercial flying or going into like other corporate spaces. Why the Airforce?
Thank you for indulging me. So mine is just really a commendation. I just wanted to commend you for breaking barriers on many levels. First of all, just before we even go to gender, on age, you broke a barrier on age, you broke a barrier on gender, but you also broke a barrier on color, because I don't think there's a lot of black women that are in your position. So I just thought I would commend you, but also encourage all of us that it can be done. If she did it, whatever our spheres of influence and areas of expertise, we can break those barriers. Thank you.
So my topic is wellness or success. That's my name. I've got 3 slides, so don't worry. I'll be out of your way very quickly. So the first thing I want to talk about is that generally, you guys do well. Generally, compared to the other gender. On average, women are outliving men by 10 to 15 years. On average. So, someone said they can't speak short. That's why in the rural areas, you will see a lot of grannies and very few grandpas. And studies have been done to try and figure out why. Why are women outliving men? And one of the main reasons is behaviors. Men resort to very harmful behaviors. They smoke cigarettes, they drink alcohol. You guys have inbuilt mechanisms which give you strength that men do not have, which give you strength that men cannot dream of having. Imagine if men had to go for labor. We probably would not survive. However, to the women in this meeting, you changed a few things. You decided to go into corporate. You started chasing for the top runner, like men. And so some of your risk factors shifted and started matching those of your male counterparts. Just quoting the flight attendant, she was talking about you have to double the effort. And the lovely dentist was talking about if you have a sweet tooth. There is a hormone called cortisol, which is the stress hormone. It's a healthy hormone for as long as it is being released in the right amounts. The moment you start doubling effort and doing all these other things, you begin to experience high levels of cortisol. They call cortisol the mother of all hormones because it absolutely disrupts everything else from normal homeostatic function. And that is coming because of stressful situations. So one of the things that happens when you have high cortisol levels is you develop a sweet tooth. Because your body just senses that you are low in energy. You struggle to sleep. I slept 2.5 hours last night. And we often wear these things like badges of honor when we are in the race. See, I'm not sleeping, I'm pushing, I'm grinding. But what are we doing to ourselves? The other thing that tells you have high cortisol levels is this thing. You start to put on fat. Because cortisol is a survival hormone. One of the things it does is it takes all your energy and converts it to fat in case no food comes in the next 20 days. So it's a good hormone. But when it is consistently high, your body just starts piling up and piling up and piling up fat. And one of the things you develop is what they call a moon face. Almost like mine, a moon face. Where you start getting round. It could be a sign of very high cortisol levels. So, first slide. Who's controlling my slides? Oh, forgive me, I'm a doctor. So what do? I praise. Oh, wonderful. I also go to church. And I love this scripture, and I think it fits in very well. 3 John 1 verse 2 says, Beloved, I wish above all things that you may prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. Beloved, I wish above all things that you may prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. What is your soul? Those that go to church. What is your soul? Your soul is your mind, your will, and your emotions. Your mind, your will, and your emotions. So when we talk about wellness, it is not just the absence of disease. Wellness is a state of balance. I will show you the 8 dimensions of wellness. It's not just the absence of disease. So we're talking about your physical health. Is it in a good place? But we're also talking about your mental health. Is it in a good place? Is your mental health in a good place? One of the worst things you can ever do to yourself is to try and become an entrepreneur. I realized it halfway through the journey that I should have just finished my internship and gone on and specialized and become a specialist doctor and stopped there. When you try to build a business, it is brutal. And I can imagine when you try to build a business as a woman, it is even more brutal. Because you are fighting, there are things I don't have to fight. I walk into an office, I state my case, and I leave. You walk into an office, and I don't know what you may have to deal with, but you're dealing with a lot of things. So, these things then begin to impact your health. I was having a discussion, I'm currently specializing in radiology. I was having a discussion with Dr. Yonka, and she was saying for some reason, we are seeing a lot of breast cancer. And she mentioned 2 professions, nursing and teaching, for some reason. And she says, we used to start seeing these things after 40. We're beginning to see these things below 40. So young ladies are coming in 33 years of age with a little lump in her breast, and she's told it's cancerous. I have seen 30-year-olds with stage 4 cancer of the cervix. Of course, we know that if we can detect cancer of the cervix early, it's so easy to treat. If you go into a VIAC room, who has ever had VIAC done? Who has not heard about VIAC? So, cancer of the cervix is one of the most preventable things on earth. You just every 2 years need to go and get a VIAC done. It costs $1, or it's almost free. So what it basically does is it's just looking at the cells on your cervix, if they are beginning to mutate or change. And if they begin to see change, they just spray liquid nitrogen, and it kills all the cancerous cells. So if every woman of sexual reproductive age was just getting their cervix looked at every 2 years, we could eliminate cancer of the cervix to 0. But we're not doing it for one reason or the other. And your biggest risk factor is HPV, okay? The HPV virus. So, as executives, you don't have time for a lot of these things. You don't have time for a lot of self-care. And these are lessons I learned at a personal level, that if you're not careful, you lose balance. Remember we said wellness is balance. You have to draw boundaries. Yes, we know you want results. Yes, you're pushing and you're pushing. There are certain, like flight attendant. She probably got away with the driving because of her age. When you start getting to certain ages, there is a certain driving you cannot continue to do. Your body simply will not allow you to. So what do we do so that we continue driving? We turn to chemicals, biogas. I don't know, these are the things that give you energy. These things that are considered safe. And you see, marketing people are very dangerous because they sell very harmful things as if they were not harmful. Next slide. My apologies. So, this one just shows the 5 pillars of wellness. The first one is hydration. Hydration. But some people are taking it to the other extreme. I've seen people walking around with 5 liter jugs.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Hazel. I am the founder and CEO of Gurupira. I am also a legal practitioner by training, and I have a law firm called Hazel Edward Walter Corporate Lawyers. But today I am wearing the hat of a marketer, and I think I'm one of those people that Doc spoke about, that they did the worst to themselves of trying to be an entrepreneur because the road is tough. But today we are here to speak to you and to appeal to you ladies to say that please do come in so that you will be known in the market for whatever brand that you are representing today. We will only know and notice you by how you look. So we are saying at Gurupira Group, we're going to add value into knowing your strategies for the year, because I know you deal with the different stakeholders and you want to appeal to them differently. So we are saying, come, let's sit down, let's see who you want to appeal to, and we help you get to those people. What we don't want is to give you notebooks when people are using iPads. We also don't want to give you flasks when we are doing a golf day where people are actually wanting something to run. So what we are doing is we add value by giving you things that are actually relevant to the markets that you want to reach out. At the end of the day, you have to go back to your boards and report to say, with this budget that you gave us, these are the people that we spoke to, and we want to see your brands on the table. Wherever you go, someone must be carrying Omucho, someone must be carrying Health Point and ultrasound. What is that, Doc? Ultramed, yes. So we want everywhere we go to paint the town red if your color is red, gray if your color is gray. So we want your brand to speak for itself before people can see where you are from. So we are located at 146 Samora Machel. We are on suite number 5. Come through to our showroom. Come and see what we have, different products that we offer, and the services as well that will help you reach your target markets. I think for today, unless if there are questions, that will be that. I do have stress balls. The doctor spoke about stress. And I know that because I'm talking to C-suite executives, stress is there, whether you know it or you don't. So I will have maybe 2 questions from someone, and I'll give them a stress ball. Where are my stress balls? I see Marilyn. Thank you so much, Marilyn, for your continued support over the years. What is your question?
Hazel, I'd like to be dressed by you. I'm waiting for you to come and see me. That's number 1. Number 2, what made you go the entrepreneur direction while you still have a promising lawyer career?
Thanks, Marilyn, for that question. So this is what happened. I guess like what Doc said, I wanted to do the business side of everything because lawyers can do practically everything. We are trained except for medical practice and flying. But everything else that has got to do with reading and writing, we can do. I wanted to have something of my own. So when I was growing up, my grandmother would say, Kumusha, Mangwana teacher ndima from here to there. But we didn't have our own home. We call it Bata, right? But before we go to bed, the owner of the home will come and knock, so we would not finish what we would have planned. And so because of that, I grew up wanting to have something of my own that I can say, this is my own thing and this is the change that I've made and the difference I've made in society. So in dressing people up, we want them to look beautiful but at affordable prices, giving them the best that is out there at affordable pricing. I'm waiting for my stress balls. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Hazel, for your presentation. For me, it's not a question, but an invite to say, come and open an account so that we build you, we grow with you, and we go beyond. We just want to go over and above to scale up your business in terms of what you are wanting to achieve. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I don't think I'm managing. I'm also doing it and learning as I go. But I think what I've learned to do is to prioritize. I've got a good team at Copia and at the law firm. I get so much support from my family, from my team that I work with, but also my time, I just decide to use it wisely. Yeah, so there are certain things that obviously are going to go away. I used to like going out with my friends, go for book clubs, but now it's once in a month because obviously we have to attend to those things. You're done?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
We give her a round of applause.
Yes, guys, we have a booth outside on the corridor. Please feel free to pass by and see the services that we have. And please leave your details because we are going to be bothering you. Those who work with me know that I am a bother. So thank you so much for your time. I am out.
Just a reminder, our theme for today is leading with balance, empowerment, resilience, and sustainable success. And our topic for the panelists is mindful leadership, unlocking $1 million women champions. I'll start with Gloria. Gloria is a chartered accountant, has an MBA in leadership, LLM in international business law, MSc in business psychology, and over 20 years in the financial services sector. So on one of your posts, yes, I've been stalking you all online. So on one of your posts, to quote, you said, define yourself. Don't let others define you. Don't let external circumstances dictate one's identity. Your story is your strength. As we're looking at that, can you give us your take, looking at your story and how your story is your strength, your take on mindful leadership, and how that can be used to unlock $1 million women champions. Over to you, Gloria.
Thank you very much, and so morning, right? Good morning, ladies and the few gentlemen that are in the room. It's such an honor and privilege to be here amongst you. Unlocking $1 million champion is such a loaded statement. One way, when you reflect on it, you think about it in many ways. For me, being and looking like $1 million is more than just the financial. Right? So finance is probably one of them. How are you managing your finances? But for me, it's also about what impact are you making as a woman, as $1 million woman. It's also about what legacy are you going to leave as $1 million woman, and also just that spirit that you embody. The spirit of excellence, the spirit of uplifting, the spirit of developing. So when I look at $1 million, and I was going to ask who of you believes that they are $1 million women, I am reminded of a quote by Henry Ford which says, if you can't, or if you believe you can, or you believe you can't, either way you're right. And I'm going to say to all of us here, if you believe you're a $1 million champion, or you believe you're not, either way you're also right. We are talking not just about being $1 million woman, but we're also talking about the potential. That's why we're talking about unlocking, because it's in there, it's inherent, and it depends on how you define yourself. So you can define your millionness and the way that you impact. You can define your millionness in your actual financial net worth, or you can define your millionness in the legacy that you leave. So I think with that in mind, as we go into this conversation, answer that question for yourself. Where are you $1 million? Which areas are you meant to untap or unlock? And just keep that definition in your hands. It's not about cars and houses. And yes, it is, if that's your goal, but it's very well encompassing. And when we talk about mindful leadership, we're talking about wholesome leadership. We are talking about the wholesome woman who is $1 million woman, even in the way they run their home, $1 million woman in the way they run their business, and other people's businesses for that matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Gloria. Just one question from me. You mentioned unlocking in the way that you impact the people under you. As MD of Old Mutual Insurance Company. As a leader, how can you cultivate the concept of mindfulness within your team and within the organization? If I move on to the next.
Sure, thank you. So this is something that we have mastered quite a great deal at Old Mutual, and I've got Cynthia here to attest to that. So when we're talking about mindfulness, we are talking about you being fully aware of all the facets of your life that need attention. And so when you're getting into a mindfulness state, you're almost getting into a meditative state, if I put it that way, where you're reflecting on how you're doing within all the rules of life, how you're doing financially, how you're doing emotionally, spiritually. So at Old Mutual, we have wellness sessions that talk to your mindfulness. We also break it down into your mental wellness. We break it down into your spiritual wellness. We break it down into your physical wellness. So when you come to Old Mutual, you can connect into a session for spiritual wellness. You can connect into a session for mental wellness. If you want physical, again, we've got facilities within our organization where we just want you to be mindful of the fact that there are many facets of you that make you, and that all of them need to be in balance. And you need to be mindful of how you invest in each and every one of them. Thanks.
Thank you, ladies. You heard that. There are many facets that make you. I'm going to ask our next panelist if you can come and stand here. The screen is interfering. So I'll ask Dr. Marikanda to come up. CEO of Zimbabwe Women's Microfinance Bank, PhD in Business Administration, MBA in NGO Leadership, and Bachelor of Science in Rural and Urban Planning. What a diverse set of skills. So you had an interview with Z Mining, and a question was posed to you on collateral challenges and how to circumvent them. I liked your answer. You know what she says? She says, Maria Bank, mwana wemkwasha, arare kunzi. So, as we're also looking at women empowerment, we're also looking at you as part of the team that's going to impact the next generation of women. And the task becomes easier for them. So, with that in mind, how can you be mindful as a leader and unlock $1 million women champions?
Well, because it's a short answer, I'll definitely speak from my heart. I just highlighted the word beautiful. How are you? The way you're looking at me is scaring me. My ideas are flying off. Please smell a bit. I just highlighted the word mindful. I highlighted the word leadership. I also then asked you questions like, if you are going to be impactful, you need to know where you are right now, where you want to go. In the morning, I was late because I had a session with my daughters. Whatever I tell people, I also say to my children. So I'm also mindful of a legacy. I'm also mindful of whatever I do right now is intention. Because I said that I'm about to go somewhere. So I think mindful leadership for me is where to unlock that $1 million. I want to believe no one is being paid $1 million right now. Yeah. So let's look at what we are doing right now as intention for you to be doing something that will unlock that value. And I like what Gloria said, where she mentioned the issue of an all-rounder person. But having said Maria Bank I also have a term that says Maridera inoteverera an idea. So it's not in the gender, it's not in education, it's not in any of those things. It's in an idea that is addressing a need amongst whoever. It may be amongst the poorest, amongst the richest. If you find a market niche, how do you then save $1 million people there? Mari zhinji imari shoma yakaunganidzwa. $1 million will make you a millionaire. So if you're selling vegetables, they can still give you your million. In the morning, I came up, my children told me, today, as I was coming here, I just transformed myself into $1 million motivational speaker. Because they said, we're going to write your business plan. And we'll charge. And in the morning they were saying, who else owes you? And I realized, I actually came to about 100,000 and realized, hey, I have network. So I think it's also important. At times we get money and we throw it away. One of the other values that I say to have the $1 million mindset is keep the little, track your money. Doesn't matter it's 50 cents. And I will always say, I'm happy we are ladies here and gentlemen here. Honorable women today. Don't flirt with people's hearts, don't flirt with men, don't flirt with money, because money will not take anything away from you. So I think these are the mentalities that I would then say, that's what you need to do. Be happy about yourself. Depression is a situation you feel like, oh, things could be better. A live dog is better than a dead lion. That's what the word of God says. So no matter I don't look like her, she is and I come advantaged everywhere all around. So I will never be like, hey, I'll be very dead if I have a size. But it's a mentality. I have to think like that. And I think your mental health, it precedes your financial health. Because even if you get the money, you will die rich and you will eat your money from Chokera. So and I also think one of the women, we're a collective team. When you are pregnant, you just find me and say, hey, how does it feel? You know, people just intrude into your space. And you feel like, leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you. We will talk. As you're saying, leave me alone, you're already talking to me. So we talk to each other. So I think it's the strength that we have as women. We can collectively, right now, if we decide we want to go into a value chain EMAs, we will unlock the first $1 million. Who said it should be Marikanda's money? It's our money, but it's the first $1 million. We've unlocked something. Guys, hakuna Dakota rakauya Zimbabwe rikatora Marikanda nayo America. The money just moved from here to here. And when she's left with nothing, she says there is no money. There is money.
Thank you, Doc. Powered environment. Can you share with us a situation where mindful leadership contributed to the development of $1 million business? A personal situation, something
personal.
Yes.
Let me take you to the bank. I know some of you don't even have accounts at the Women's Bank. And it's given as Zimbabwe Women's Microfinance. Micro just talks like small. And we just decided it's a bank which has got a very old thing, but which is very new. Johnny Camlet, less than 7 years, the bank. But what we stand for is bigger. So what we decided is I'm very strong on strategy. I discovered that when you come up with a business idea, it's not everyone who embraces it. So at times, my womanhood, my femininity, tends to repel on anyone who challenges me. You understand men what I'm talking about. Men will come and say to you an idea, this will not work. This, and for a woman, you feel like, you feel like, so I discovered I'm a C-suite person. I'm a leader. I'm more male than female. But I need to bring the femininity at work. So I found that persuasion is very important. And when people do not come along with your idea, don't write them off. Today, they are your worst enemy, but tomorrow, they are your best person. So I've learned patience. My team often says to me, you have changed. You used to be this cutting edge. Now you have long suffered. You should have fired that one and fired that one. You don't fire your team members. You mold them, you build them. I want to tell you, watch the space. 5 years from now, this bank is already big. You don't see it right now. It's one of the biggest banks you can ever think of because of collaboration, partnership, and working together with others. I've discovered competition is unhealthy for me, but complementing is better. So if I compete with her, I want, let's run, she'll beat me to it. Let's talk, she'll beat me to it. Accounts, she'll beat me to it. So I will complement instead of competing. So this is what we've done at the Women's Bank, and it has made the bank, and that's making sense. Thank you. Let me run before you ask.
Pauline, Regional Director, U.S. Africa Trade Commission. She has a bachelor's degree in business, bachelor's in development study, diploma in primary counseling. On your profile, to quote you, you said, let us strive for a future where every woman has the opportunity to thrive, succeed, and lead. Looking at our theme, and with that quote in mind, so how can you use mindful leadership to unlock million-dollar women champions?
Okay, thank you, and happy Women's Month to everyone. Yes, so just going back to the theme of the Women's Month, we're talking about accelerating and talking about action. So I think from that, we get an idea about what we're supposed to do as women. And given that as women, we've been doing things on our own, and hence that we are saying we need to accelerate, which means we need to work together as a team, as women, to do things that will go far. And when we talk about action, which means if we are going to come together as women like we did today, we want to come up with ideas, we want to come up with solutions as to how we are going to make the next million-dollar woman, right? And like as Dr. Marikanda has indicated there, we don't need to start doing big things. That dollar is very important. And going back, we were always been a research case, right, for women. The UN is researching on us, and the African Union is researching on us, and all other development agencies. So now we are saying as women, I think we have gotten to the point whereby we've been doing the peripheral activities. We can now put food on our table, but we need to go beyond putting food on our table. We need to look at strategies as to how to make the next million-dollar woman, and that is not going to come out from nowhere. Coupled with the policies that we have in our country, I think we can do that. And we are always also advocating for friendly policies as to how that can happen. We are looking at major projects that are taking place in Zimbabwe, like we have the Mandas. And that is also one thing that we also need to look at as women. How do we tap into that opportunity? The Mandas project. We can set up a manufacturing plant where we can start doing steel. And that's where Dr. Marikanda comes in now to say, how can we finance this group of women? We have decided to go into the manufacturing of steel, so that we also get that money. Who says women, we can't do it? We can. That is a male-dominated area when it comes to business. But we can start planning to go into that field and make our next million. I think we can do that.
Thank you, Pauline. So how have you managed to balance the need for mindfulness with the fast-paced demands of the business world, also given that your job is also very demanding?
Okay, so maybe going back to my background, I am a product of the Affirmative Action Group, whereby we were spearheading or championing women empowerment. So I'm coming from an area whereby, we were being taught how to empower yourself and how to empower those people in the communities. So as I am being a development practitioner, I always look at things that are around me and try to come up with maybe concepts that can also assist those who are in the community, those around me. It's not about me only, but about all those other people that are around me.
Coming to our last panelist, Tofara, CEO and founder of Tofara Online Trust, ditched the tech industry in the corporate world to start her own business. March is Women's Month, and you posted to quote you from your post regarding Women's Month, you said, "Let us choose kindness over jealousy and empowerment over indifference. Let us be intentional in supporting one another, not just when it is convenient, not just when it benefits us, but because we truly believe in the power of women in unity. Looking at women in unity, give us your take on mindful leadership and how you can use that to unlock $1 million women champions.
Thank you so much for this opportunity that you have given me. I'm so honored. And before I answer the question, I wouldn't do much justice to myself if I don't introduce who I am and the organization that I represent. So I represent an organization called Tofara Online Trust, which is an organization that is empowering women, youth, and SMEs with digital skills for business and career development. And one of the challenges that I got here in Zimbabwe is naming an organization after myself. And most of the people that usually are against that name are women. I think you should read the post that I wrote on, as we celebrated the Women's Month. Some of the things are the things that I've gone through myself as an entrepreneur. Like she mentioned, in 2021, after a career as an IT engineer in a very big mine here in Zimbabwe, I decided to leave my full-time job to run this organization full-time. And I always believe that even if you are employed, entrepreneurship is not for everyone, but you need a second income generation project. I've worked in a mine whereby people would walk in the morning and you will be having your luxurious good job, and you are invited to the HR office. They tell you that your job is no longer required, please pack your things and leave. And if you would work in, I believe that this is happening even this year. A lot of people are losing jobs. And most of the time, the reason why we as women do not have a second source of income is because we are very comfortable. We've got good salaries. Our bills are paid. If you've got a company car, the fuel is in the car. And at the end of the day, the women that are then going to meet with retrenchment, you will suffer the most because you thought your job was everything. I'm talking from an experience where I was given a very good pay. I was an IT engineer for 15 years. Imagine working for a diamond mine. What did I need? Nothing, right? But also, because I wanted to do more, after looking at my background, as I built myself, and that is what Tofara Online then stands for. I usually tell women that their stories make them $1 million women. I grew up in a community where there was no access to technology, no access to information or career guidance. I saw a computer for the first time at 20. That is the story that has made me go beyond borders of Zimbabwe. If I say it right now, it might not make sense, right? Because everyone has access to a computer. And I know a few ladies of my age here who were like me. But I discovered that there's a different world altogether. The digital space opens up so many opportunities that we cannot get locally, right? So Tofara Online is running with 3 flagship projects, one which is the Women in Digital Business, where we have partnered with Microsoft and ITCILO to empower women with digital skills to grow businesses. And this includes learning digital transformation, digitalizing your businesses, and also adopting digital marketing for business growth. So we are trying to make sure that women from different communities also have access to platforms like this. Not everyone is going to be a CEO of a big company or have access to places like this. But because I grew up in similar communities where women don't have equal opportunities to be had, our programs now, we make sure that we partner with international organizations and give women and youths skills that make them grow beyond borders. One of our flagship project again is called the Talent for Startups. This one is a youth-based project which is funded by a French company, and we are also looking at young girls, building them from a young age. I wouldn't want anyone in this era to see a computer at 20 like I did. And I wouldn't want a young girl to grow up without mentorship like I did. The way that we grew up and where I am now, it was a struggle to be here. And just being invited here on its own, we were talking at our table and we discovered that most of us are from Shishawane and Chirupanyanga. Actually, she would learn at Tomogara, where I was also at secondary school, right? But if you look at those communities, there are still communities like that. I went in a mine in Majiwa. The communities are still there, where a young lady does not have opportunity to learn what internet is all about. So to me, building a $1 million women champion is giving you access to the internet, access to opportunities beyond borders. I love Linda, you know the banks here in Zimbabwe, but I've got one problem. I've never received funding from local. In as much as we knock the doors, it's more like there's a brick wall. But if I go online with my stories and the stories of the women that we are impacting, it's easier to apply for a fund and get it from France or America or anything else. So what is happening to our country? But all the same, we are saying whatever we are doing as Tofara Online, we are making sure that we build $1 million women, not in the normal day-to-day work. I always tell people, I'm one person who works full-time from home and I work full-time online, right? So when people see our brand, they think like we've got this big building and everything. But the impact that we are making, we are starting online and then going to the people physically. I'll give you 2 testimonies before I sit down. 1 minute. Our organization is globally certified and recognized. All our courses are endorsed by the World Trade Organization because of the impact that we are making. And in 2023, I had an opportunity to be mentored at LinkedIn in Silicon Valley for about 3 weeks in America, fully funded by the United States of America. So we are saying to build multi-million-dollar women, we need the exposure out there. So we as an organization, we will tell you that make sure that you have a profile even on LinkedIn that speaks of your passion and what you want to do. Get opportunities to go out there and come back and implement projects like an intelligent $1 million woman. So that is us and that is what I believe in. Thank you.
So what I pick from you is resilience and adaptability. So with that in mind, I'll open it up to the floor to ask the panelists questions. You can ask directly to an individual.
Thank you. So my question is, as women in leadership, how have you tackled, especially men, telling you that you shouldn't be soft, you need to be mean, all these things that may be against your character? So obviously, let's say you're a certain person and it's working, but there are always people in your ear telling you that in leadership, you shouldn't be this way, you should not act a certain way.
I've always known to be a woman. And I vouch for it that the best creature that is ever there is the woman. So by saying know who you are, let no one define who you are. Put a value on you. She's an ICT person, a guru. She can be amongst men and expect men to say, hey, girl, you're doing it. So I know we've been princesses and we've grown with affirmations. You do this and everyone says, you're doing well. Everyone tells you, you're so beautiful. As you grow up in the ladder of leadership, I encourage people that no one will give it to you on a plate. If they do give you on a plate, they have an ulterior motive. Either they want you to remain where you are, but if you look at me, I'm the CEO and you want my job and you eye it, there's nothing wrong with it. You start to develop yourself to be a CEO material. My first reaction would be, I'm not going to stay there for life. So you are preparing for that. You want to take over, even in a race, if we're going for a marathon, when you are walking and someone is walking faster than you, don't tell me out because where am I competing? Anyway, I'll go with my own pace. Someone somewhere will not give it to you on a plate. So I think one of the things that I often say is know your temperament. What kind of a person are you? If you are the introvert and everyone else is to speak out for you, use the advantages of your temperament. I don't know whether I'm introvert or what. I don't know. I know you're already defined.
No, you're not.
I used to be, can you imagine? So you are an extrovert, you're an introvert, that's fine. And you are very calm, others pay attention to detail. I always say, for me, look at your strengths. What are you good at? Perfect it. Girl, if it's writing a proposal, let know, if it's statistical analysis, qualitative analysis, no, they will look for you. Yes. When it's needed, whether it's cooking sadza, you know, when you do a good job, they'll just say, it's like they want you to do it, they just feel like, no, we can't compete with you. Indirectly, they're feeling, no one will give you on a plate. Men will always be men. We have groomed them. And I think talking about raising children, we've been talking about gender-based violence. It's not a problem everyone makes us. How do you treat one another? How do you treat your husband? And Gloria talking about us, the executives where we are. I always tell my children that no, it's my man. The things I don't know you're hearing me. If you come in my home, the things that work in my home, my husband is the king in my home. I submit to my husband. One man. To spoil one man. What are you trying to say? I'm simply saying that my mother didn't tell me that. I looked around, I'm bright, I have a doctorate, but let it work around for you. As well in the home environment. At work, if someone wants to take advantage of you, you know what? If you say no, a no is a no. No one will touch any part of your body if you say no. Yes. So when you tell me that we want to take advantage, it doesn't matter. And I always say when I come to this, I tell people, the young people say, you know what? I have this pride. I walked away from 3, 4 very lucrative jobs. Because they decided to take a girlfriend and that's now I didn't know where to go. So I walked away. I became a consultant straight from college because I decided no one is going to harvest me. No one will harvest me. And it became a tenant and I tell young girls, no, let no one harvest you. Decide who will harvest you. So you get harvested by that one because you want a promotion. It's wrong. It's you who is responsible. And don't let us come and fight your husband. It's a love relationship you decided. And you want to know that. And you let him buy it and begin with such an woman, don't get up with it, or had be able to do it. Over an 11, you see, one that they do to Akagaraka Milode because of the around. Or when you don't say it. What are you saying? So do something. Yes, we can collectively do some things. But girl, hey, stand up. Someone closes your mouth, closes your nose, is suffocating you. You're about to die, and you think, Mama, we have to say, hey, kick! Fight for life. Love life. Don't die.
All right. Thank you for the opportunity. I think to women getting into leadership role, but I want to take it from the context, borrowing from my sister here, where I'd be interested, maybe Gloria or Dr. Mandas, if you can give us a historic understanding of perhaps what the barriers were historically and the barriers that you might be seeing now and how we can then address or overcome those.
Okay, thank you. I think one of the biggest barriers that we had was that, first of all, people were not seeing the benefits of having a diverse leadership team. People had mindset that was framed towards the woman being in the home and the man being the provider. But some of those barriers were broken by women that have gone before us. They've gone into those spaces, they have led, and they've done so well. So those barriers are slowly being removed. But I think it's for us to realize that the barriers are removed, because it's one thing for you to be in a jail cell, and the jail is actually open, and you're still stuck in there because you actually don't see that it's open. So there are so many opportunities now. A lot of them are token opportunities. And get me right here. Right now, we've got from the Constitution, from the UN development goals, from our own organizational policies where we're wanting to improve our gender composition. So it might appear token, but I think for me, I would say just get a seat there. Once you've gotten in, show them that you're there on merit. How do you show that you're there on merit? You bring value. And when you bring value, and Gloria has run this business, and it has turned around, and it has done well, the next woman, the next generation of women are going to find it easy. Because it has been proven. It's a concept that has been proven. So I think our call to action as women in leadership, personally, I always say that I have to do it so well, so that my daughter doesn't have to be a thing at all anymore, because either a woman or a man can lead. So I think the opportunities are there right now. Let's not be caught up in our own jails. Let's go for those things. I think we had the lieutenant there. She's in spaces which have never been occupied. Look at her, what she's doing in the digital space. Spaces you'd never think women will go into. But the barriers were truly opened. And we now just need to go, follow our purpose, do it, and then the value, get the value. I think that's the most important thing. If she doesn't do it well, she's ruined it for the next generation of women. If I don't do it well, I've ruined for the next generation of women.
Thank you. We'll take our last question.
I just wanted to add when you start coming on to that. I just wanted to say it's true you can get a job where indirectly they will prefer a man or prefer someone instead of you. I would still, because at that point, you are not yet in a position of demonstrating what you are bringing to the table. And this is where most people fall trapped, where someone is trying to get you the other way around. Prayer does work. I found it worked for me. Just to give a testimony of how I landed on my job as Women's Bank CEO. I guess I was the top, but I was not the preferred. People in the candidate that they expected. And then lo and behold, I ended in there. And when you face animosity, you face people who do not like you, understand that it's possible. You also have people that you don't like. So don't kill yourself because people do not like you. Try and win them on your side. It's okay. Someone will not just be given up. You just look like Unenaro. And I know I also I don't know if I said anything funny, but in that interview I spoke, I realized that they were not going to give me the job. So the panelists said they were seated there. I then became brushy. I then said, I would have expected you to ask me this person, and I would have answered this way. I would have expected you to ask me this person, and I would have answered this way. And I was shining and I feeling like, and in the process I was creating enemies in me. But I thought they were not going to give me the job. So I thought, no, this bank will not take off because I have the skills and what it takes. And I walked out. 3 months down the line, I was offered the job. And I was facing the same people. So when you make mistakes, I made them. There are times when we think people are fighting us, but it's also our characters. Take responsibility for that and work on it, those rough edges. Because at times you are tishandi kenesu. Those are some of the things that we do. I want to just add one thing on the family front. When you earn more than your spouse, please don't make them feel that it's you. Like right now, you may be earning less. Also, when you become the millionaire in the home, I think the most powerful person is the person who can give and not hold grudges. You become more beautiful, not the face, but the spirit that is so likable because you don't pay people back. So there are people who always hate you as a woman. We conceive things. We conceive. My ideas we conceive. Even my grudges we conceive. Let's learn not to conceive the wrong things.
Yes.
Thank you so much. She partly answered my question. Most women are in power. Most women are earning more than their spouses. I wanted to know how you are managing the relationships with your in-laws, with the husband, when you're bringing more on the table? How are you doing it, guys?
Okay, I'll talk about my personal experience, right? So when I was employed, I was earning more. And everyone around me loved me. Most probably, I then discovered it was because of the money, the job, etc. When it was the other way around, things change, right? So I feel like money should not really build relationships. I feel like you need to have relationships that are built regardless of the season that you are in. Whether you've got money or not, the household should function as a woman. Whether you've got more money or he has more money, whatever season that you're in, everything should function the same. But reality is some of us, we hold on to certain relationships because of what I benefit from the next person. And that when that is no longer there, then there's a problem. And as women, definitely, I think the issue of respect in the home really comes to play. I learned a lot from Dr. Marikanda. You know, when you are at work and you're earning more, when you get into the home, you need to be as humble as you can. You need to remove the head, you know. But sometimes with us women, I tell you, if we have good money, we can lift the man with a finger and put the kitchen there. Because most probably when he had money, he was treating you in a certain way. So now you have the money, you also feel like you have to retaliate. Okay. So I think the seasons that we go through should not define the relationships that we have. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you to you, the $1 Million Champions. I'm sure you've all learned a lot from these women. Pauline, one last remark.
Okay, so maybe before we go, I can see the room. We have young CEOs there, and maybe the question that they have is how do they make it, and how can we also learn from those who have made it. So this is where we are now talking about these networks. We are now talking about having the mentorship programs with those women who have made it. So it's like a cultural thing. When we have millionaires, like around, we have the Dr. Dugulas, we have, how do you approach it and say, ma'am, can we sit down and discuss your journey? How did you get there? Because many of us really need to know, how can I get to that level where you are saying you've achieved all. And then also, apart from that, we are now talking about, I think it's Madam Gloria here spoke about maybe knowledge. I think I learned somewhere about 5 cups, which can also assist us. That's about knowledge, what do you know, and we're talking about skills, what can you do, like Tofara here is into ICT, that is what she can do very well. And then we talk about our networks, who do you know, so that they also assist you in whatever you want to do. And then we talk about financing, we then talk about the banks. If you have your project, you know where to go. You can go to the bank, you can go to maybe friends, and then after that we talk about your reputation, what are you known for? I think those items can also assist us in our journey as women, as we are doing our work, as we are having our goals to become the next millionaire. I think if we do that, we can do it. And then besides that, I just wanted to highlight the issue of financing. It's
30 seconds.
Okay, it's an issue because most women they don't have collateral security. That is a barrier to most women who want to maybe progress in their work. So really, we need to start having a discussion. I think here at this table we also discussed about networking, whereby women were talking about not having the opportunity to go to bars where men are sitting there and networking and giving each other ideas, and most of the men are sitting at the home there where decisions are made and we don't have access. What can we do? We can create our own networks.